A poor ride design, a lap bar that wasn't properly lowered, a seating mistake, one of the most frequented theme parks in the United States, and a terrible disaster that took away a chance at a normal, happy life. Brandon Zucker. This name might not be so popular, but it is definitely something that you need to know about. Brandon Zucker, the young boy from Anaheim who was hurt when he was caught beneath the vehicle of a ride at Disneyland Park in September 2000 and suffered brain damage as a result. As a result of his injuries, various improvements were made to the amusement park, which led to various improvements being made to the ride itself. Because of what occurred to Brandon, the park has implemented a variety of improvements and alterations as a direct response. The incentive for many of these course adjustments was provided by his death, which acted as the catalyst. Brandon Zucker went on the Roger Rabbit ride at Disneyland on September 22, 2000, while he was dressed as Mickey Mouse and wearing his ears. This event had a significant bearing on the way the rest of his life would unfold. Because of the interaction, he had a profound awareness of the path that he was destined to follow. As a direct result of what had taken place, he sustained brain damage that would remain with him for the remainder of his life. After getting off the Roger Rabbit ride at Disneyland, the little kid, who was just 4 years old at the time, suffered serious injuries. Because he managed to get himself wedged underneath another vehicle, he was pulled for a distance of over 10 feet, getting many major injuries on the inside of his body, including a ripped diaphragm, liver, and spleen, in addition to other internal organs that had been damaged. He also had many other internal organs injured. As a result of having his body crushed by the ride, the little child, who had only been a small kid at the time, fell into cardiac arrest and suffered brain damage. At the time of the incident, the child had no idea of what happened to him. After the accident, he was rendered unable to move or speak, and he was placed under the influence of medication, which caused him to go into a coma, where he remained for more than a month. His health continued to deteriorate as time went on. Because of the injuries he had as a direct result of the occurrence, he will continue to have difficulties functioning normally for the rest of his life as a result of his limitations. When his mother, Victoria Zucker, was reached by phone at her home in the middle of the day, she said that her son Brandon had been putting up a fight for the last 8 years. The conversation took place at Victoria Zucker's apartment. On the day that Brandon was hurt, Victoria Zucker and her family, who all resided in Santa Clarita at the time, were celebrating her 40th birthday together. Brandon got hurt on the same day. According to Maria Sebel, a spokesman for the Anaheim Fire Department, emergency medical services were dispatched to the residence of Brandon Zucker, which is located on the 600 block of Frontier Court, after it was reported that he was having trouble breathing. Brandon Zucker's home can be found on the same street as the Anaheim Fire Department's headquarters. According to Jim Amormino, a spokesperson for the Orange County Sheriff's Department, the young guy, who is now 13 years old, was transferred to St. Joseph's Hospital in Orange. This information was provided by the hospital. The young guy was detained on suspicion of committing serious violence, which led to his detention. Later on, he was sent to the Children's Hospital of Orange County, where it was found that he had gone away at 1:13 in the morning today. He had been taken there earlier. According to him, the results of the autopsy that was performed that morning were unable to provide any answers that could be regarded as decisive on the cause of death of the person who had been examined. The Permanent Amusement Ride section of the Division of Occupational Safety of the state issued the order to Disneyland 3 months after the event to add doors on the taxicab cars of the Roger Rabbit ride, as well as a skirt at the bottom of the vehicles. This was done as a reaction to the fact that one of the passengers had fallen out of one of the vehicles while they were going on the trip. This measure was taken as a response to the fact that one of the passengers had become disoriented while riding and fell out of one of the cars. This took place when they were moving from one place to another. According to one of the other sections of the state's findings, one of the ride operators had called for a supervisor in the break room rather than dialing 911. After the incident that took place in the year 2000, Zucker's family filed a lawsuit against Disneyland, which eventually resulted in a settlement being reached between the two sides in the year 2002. According to statements made by officials at the Disneyland resort, they found out about Zucker's passing in the morning. Susie Brown, who works as a spokesman for Disney, issued a short statement in which she said, We are saddened to hear of the demise of Brandon Zucker. During this terrible time, we want his family to know that our thoughts and prayers are with them. The Zucker family and Disney were able to strike a settlement agreement in the year 2002, but the specifics of the payment have never been disclosed to the general public. A legal battle that had been ongoing between the Zucker family and Disney was expected to be resolved by the agreement. According to the opinions of a great number of legal professionals who have prior experience working on cases that are similar to this one, the amount was most likely somewhere between $20 and $30 million. A little over a half year after the disaster, Disneyland made significant changes to a number of its safety protocols in reaction to the circumstance. These changes were implemented in response to the issue. As a part of these adjustments, the number of paramedics who were stationed around the park was raised, and it became essential for staff members to phone 911 as quickly as possible in the event of an accident. A little more than 2 weeks after the event, Disney released an internal message to all of its workers, encouraging them to call 911 as quickly as possible in the event of an emergency and instructing them to do so as soon as feasible. Prior to it, workers had first contacted the Anaheim Fire Department by calling the number of a centralized communications center, which then put them in touch with the AFD. 8 months after the tragedy, Disney took the choice to respond to the problem by deploying paramedics all across the park. This move was in reaction to the crisis. When the modifications were made, the Disney authorities said that the alterations would not be completed because of the incident that occurred in September of 2000 in which Brandon was hurt. This was stated at the time that the adjustments were made. It was speculated that the occurrence was what prevented the modifications from being finished. The Disneyland theme park launched a public awareness campaign in 2003 with the intention of preserving the resort's status as a warm and inviting destination for families. The issue of what, if any, improvements were done to enhance the theme park's safety as a direct consequence of the event that took place in September of 2000 was not answered by Brown. Instead, he decided to completely disregard the question. According to Amormino, more inquiries are going to be conducted in order to determine the specific factors that led to Brandon's death in the end. Victoria Zucker had a hard time getting the words "his father," and I offered him the greatest quality of life we could out of her lips as she was crying as she attempted to convey what she and her husband had done for their kid while she was trying to explain what they had done for their son. In her effort to explain what she and her husband had done for their kid, she said, "He was a boy who stood out from the rest of the children in his class. Everyone here has an immense amount of love and respect for him, and we are all going to miss having him around in one form or another." That's all for this video. Let us know in the comment box what you all think about it. Like it and share it with your friends so that they also know about this incident.